you guys, this is Nicole. Welcome back to my channel. Today I want to talk about relationships, give you a little insight into my relationship, and just talk about how I have kept mine so strong and some of the lessons, easy and hard lessons, that I've learned along the way. I've been in a relationship with the love of my life for around 7 years. I'm only 20 years old and I'm about to turn 21, and I met him when I was 14 years old. We went to the same elementary school, middle school, and high school, so I always knew about him kind of, but we never really properly met and started talking until my freshman year of high school, which was when I was 14 years old. I'm not gonna get into all the mushy stuff like how much I love him. I mean, if I've been with him for 7 years, you can probably guess that I love him very much. And I kind of just want to talk about the lessons that I've learned and give some advice for people who are struggling or who just want to know a little more about someone else's perspective on how to keep a relationship strong and how to keep that fire alive. So I know that I'm really young. I'm not trying to preach or tell you what to do. I'm simply sharing my experience, which goes along with every other video I post. I'm never trying to preach or seem like I'm better than anyone or like I have more experience than anyone, because I know that there's people out there who have been together for 50 years and they probably have a lot better advice and lessons to share than I do, but I just figured, why not make this video? I've gotten a few suggestions to make this and a lot of questions on my personal Instagram about my relationship and just asking for advice. Also, if you hear noises throughout this video, I have 2 cats. They love to play with each other, they love to get into mischief around my apartment, so just keep that in mind, bear with me. So, like I said, I met my boyfriend when I was 14 years old, and that's also when we started dating. Like I said as well, I already kind of knew who he was. He's a grade and a year older than me, so when I was a freshman, he was a sophomore in high school, and that's when we started dating. We dated for about 3 months and then we broke up. We had a 4-month break in between when we broke up the first time and then we got back together at the beginning of my sophomore year. So that whole summer in between my freshman and sophomore year, we were broken up and we didn't really talk. We would text sometimes, we would chat with one another, but I was not with him and he wasn't with me. I was so heartbroken, and that was really the first time and the only time in my life that I have experienced true heartbreak romantically. I've been through heartbreak in other aspects of my life where my heart was broken by someone that wasn't necessarily a romantic partner, but that was really the only time in my life that, yeah, my heart was just ripped and torn into pieces. And it wasn't necessarily anything that he did. We kind of had some friends who was feeding one thing into my ear, something else into his ear, and there was just a lot of miscommunications. And so yeah, we spent 4 months apart, and during those months when we weren't together, I really leaned on a lot of my girlfriends to help me through the time. I went on a few trips. I went to San Francisco, Santa Barbara, Palm Springs, and I just kind of had a really fun summer with my girlfriends while being heartbroken. And during that time, I really learned that being alone is okay. Having a significant other doesn't complete you. I learned that I was a whole person on my own and that I didn't necessarily need to have a boyfriend to be happy, to feel fulfilled, and to just have a nice life. So as much as I did miss him and I was really heartbroken, I really learned that I was my own person by myself. which is a huge component of learning to have a stable and healthy relationship. I'm sure that anyone that you talk to will say the same thing. You need to love yourself first. And that's when I really learned that lesson, the hard way. And I really believe that we wouldn't have lasted this long if we didn't go through that time spent apart. It was really crucial to my own personal development, my own spiritual awakening, to spend that time by myself, just surrounded by good girlfriends and just good friends in general that I really loved being around. And I learned that I was okay being alone. And I don't know if I would have learned that if we had just stayed together until now. I wouldn't know that I'm okay to be alone, and that as much as I do love my boyfriend and I do need him, it's not the end of the world to be alone. So if you're single, take it from me, you're okay. You are your own person. You can love yourself just as much as someone else can love you. We realized that we still liked each other. We definitely weren't in love at that point, but I was still really heartbroken, and I still really, really liked him. I really wanted him back. And so I guess he did too, and we started dating again. And from that point, in my beginning of my sophomore year up until now, we have been together, super strong, and I've learned so much by being with him. And I was around 15, just turned 15 at that point in my life, and I really started to grow as a person, and so did he. Being with someone throughout your youth and your formative years is really, really crazy. A lot of people during that time go through several relationships. They learn what they like, what they don't like. But for me, I'm the kind of person that once I'm committed to someone, I'm head first. I really give my all to that person. And not to say that we didn't have challenges. Like with every relationship, there's going to be challenges that you're going to need to work through. And through growing up together, it really bonded us. Like, really. And because we spent these formative years together, it really allowed me to see him. I didn't just see the mask that he put on for people. I didn't just see what he wanted me to see, and vice versa. He really saw me. We saw each other transform into the people that we are today. And I'm sure with any relationship, that is such a fulfilling feeling. And it's such a good feeling to know someone inside and out, back and forth, everything about him, everything about me. We don't really keep secrets at all. I mean, yeah, of course, there's things about me that I probably don't even know, and there's things about him that he probably hasn't figured out yet. And so part of it is also respecting each other's individuality. So he was into completely different interests. I was just starting to fall in love with yoga, meditation, deeper thinking. My Instagram, SpiritualThoughts, was a huge part of my life at that time too, because I was just starting it. And while he didn't share all of the same thoughts as me, and while we weren't necessarily having these deep conversations, he could still appreciate that part of me and give me space to develop as my own person. And I gave him the space to pursue his interests, whether or not I was interested in them as well, and allow him to grow into his own person, separate from each other, but still together, if that makes any sense. So one of the lessons I also learned throughout this relationship was that you need to give the other person space to be themselves. You can't constantly wish for them to be a carbon copy of you. That just doesn't work. A relationship is about balance. It's about complementing each other and not being the same person. And while I do understand that there are relationships out there where the people in them are almost exactly alike, that wasn't what worked for me. If I had someone that was exactly like me, I would probably get really annoyed. I am my own person. I like to be individual. I like to have my own thoughts, my own opinions and emotions. And if someone was trying to like copy all of that and just be the same as me to impress me, that would turn me off. Same thing with my friends, my family, everyone in my life. I don't want someone in my life that is just trying to copy me or be the exact same person. I think that's boring, uninteresting. I want someone to bring a fresh perspective into my consciousness, into my life. I really want my partner, my boyfriend, to be his own person, to enjoy what he enjoys, go do what he wants to do, hang out with his friends, hang out with his family. And then when we do come together as a couple, as a unit, we can interchange those parts and share those parts of ourselves with each other, and in turn grow as people. So that's what really allowed us to grow together, is that we didn't suffocate each other, we didn't overcrowd each other. And I had a lot of time in high school to just go and be a high schooler. I went to parties with my friends, not that often because I'm kind of an introvert, but you get what I mean. I had my own experiences just like he did, while at the same time being together and sharing a lot of experiences with each other as well. Another big part of relationships, in my opinion, is forgiveness and communication. If I was an unforgiving person, or if I didn't communicate in a healthy way, there's absolutely no way that we'd be together right now. There are things that I have done that he had to forgive me for, whether it be small white lies that we told each other or ways that we acted. There were times when I wished that he would be more emotional, more open with his feelings, but I had to respect that he's his own person, like I said, and that he would share things with me on his own time. Being able to forgive someone for not living up to your personal expectations of what they should be or shouldn't be is a huge part of having a healthy and stable relationship with someone, and just accepting them as they are. Forgiving them for not doing what you think that they should do or not do. Forgiving them for the mistakes that they make, because we're all humans. We all make mistakes. We all do things that we don't mean to do. We say things that we don't mean to say in the heat of the moment. And I just want to point out right now also that me and my boyfriend rarely get into fights. I can honestly count on my one hand 4 times that I can remember that we got into an actual full-blown fight. Not yelling, but just an argument that got really heated, that made me cry, that, threatened our relationship. Even though I wouldn't necessarily use the term threatened, but it just rocked the boat. I can honestly count that on my one hand, 4 times that I remember. But yeah, all the other little tiny times that we had disagreements or little tiny things that we argued about, a lot of that was just having good communication, explaining our side of the story, explaining why we did what we did, why we said what we said, and really having forgiveness for just being human. You cannot expect someone to be perfect, because, you wouldn't want someone to expect you to be perfect, so why hold that expectation up to someone else? It just doesn't make sense. So if I could give one piece of advice to anyone out there struggling in their relationship, it's to have good communication and have forgiveness. If you can really master those 2 things, I feel that you can make any relationship work. Unless it's just totally toxic or abusive. I don't condone those things, obviously, but, having forgiveness and a good sense of healthy communication can really get you through a lot of things, a lot of hard times, a lot of challenges. True love doesn't just happen. Some people believe in love at first sight, and I don't. I really don't. Disagree with me in the comments, share your thoughts if you want. I love hearing other people's point of views, But personally, through my own experience, I have never experienced or seen someone else experience true, real love at first sight. You can fall in love with someone really quickly. You can fall in lust with someone at first sight. You can be attracted to someone. You can fall in love very quickly. But true love is built. You build it over time through dedication, commitment, trust, communication, and forgiveness. Those things are really the rocks of my relationship. And I feel that because we've spent so many years together and because we were together through our formative years, through that time of learning who we were as people individually and together, we really built that love brick by brick by brick, building onto what was already there. So it started with just an attraction to each other. I won't ever say that it was love at first sight because it wasn't. I just liked him. And through the years, our love just grew and grew and grew, and now it is so strong. I really can't imagine loving him more than I do now, but I know that I will because love is built. True love. It takes time. It takes effort. It really takes hard work. It's not easy to be in love. And anyone who says that it is either really lucky or doesn't really know what love is. Love is not rainbows and butterflies. It's not a golden path. It's not a walk in the park. It's not. It's learning to be okay with the other person's flaws, insecurities, and having them learn to be okay with yours as well. Over the years, we have been through so many hard times, so many experiences together, so many situations that just bonded us more and more as the time went on. And like I said, it was built brick by brick. Our love grew and grew, and I'm willing to put in the work, to put in the time and the effort to build it even more. And that's a huge part of relationships as well. Not just romantic relationships. This applies to family, friends, any relationship, work relationships. It takes time. It's not going to be perfect. It's not going to be easy, but it is so worth it. And I know that that phrase has kind of been used a lot. You know, it won't be easy, but it's worth it. But it's so true. Don't expect perfection. Don't expect them to think of you as a perfect person because we're not. We are flawed human beings. We have problems. We have messy moments. We have emotional times. Lord knows I'm a very emotional person, and he's had to deal with that. He's had to learn to love me through my crying moments, through my anxiety attacks, through me just spewing words out of hate and out of fear. Because there have been times where I said things that I didn't mean, and there were times that he said things that he didn't mean. And does that mean that I broke up with him because he said something mean to me? No. I learned to realize that things happen, life is messy and complicated, human emotions are really messy and complicated, but if you are willing to put up with that, and if you really want to be with that person, if you do love them, your love will just grow and expand over time. Some of the things I'm saying in this video might not sit well with some people, and I'm okay with that. You might have a completely different experience with your love life, and that's okay. Like I said, human experiences are messy and complicated, so what works for me and my relationship might be not what works for you and your relationship. I'm simply sharing my experience. I also have a lot of respect for him just as his own person. He works so hard to just do his life. Life is so hard, and I have so much respect for him just for being here, just for being this human. I have so much respect for how he treats me because he really does treat me the way that I deserve to be treated. Like I said, it's not to say that he's perfect or that I'm perfect, but we are perfect for each other. And I also don't really believe in soulmates. I think that there are people that you're meant to meet. There are people that you vibe better with. There are people that are a part of your soul family that you're meant to meet in your lifetime. But you have several of those people. Twin flames and soulmates, or those terms, are just that. They're terms. I've made a video on twin flames and soulmates in the past, and since that video my views have changed a little bit, and while I do still believe that some people really do have a twin flame, they have a soulmate, you don't necessarily have just one. It's not like you have to go out into the world and find this one person that will only work for you. I really believe that you can build a solid relationship and a solid love for anyone. Really, if you're willing to put in the hard work, if you're willing to stick by them through thick and thin, love can grow anywhere. Love can grow from the most darkest places. Just like weeds grow through the concrete, flowers grow in harsh environments, love can grow with any two people. So with that, I will end this video because I could honestly talk on and on and on about my relationship and how much I love my partner, my boyfriend, my soulmate, if you want to call it that. But I think I've said enough. If you have any comments, questions, if you completely disagree with what I said, leave your comment below. I would love to know your thoughts, know your feelings, and no matter what, just know that, again, I'm not trying to preach, I'm just sharing my perspective, my point of view, so thank you for listening. I appreciate you being here, whether you agree or not, whether you have these experiences or not, and if you're single, it doesn't matter. You are perfect the way you are. You have so much love to give to this world outside of a relationship. Sorry for the noise. My leaf blower friends are here in my apartment complex cleaning up the leaves, so that's why the noise is getting very loud. So I guess it's the perfect time to end this video. I'm sending you all so much love no matter what you're going through, no matter who you're with, no matter what your experiences are in this life. I value you, I respect you, I see you, and I love you. Thank you for being here. I hope that you enjoyed my little chat. I have a lot to say, and I hope to be able to share these thoughts with you for a long time, and I hope that we get to build a solid love and relationship with each other. So again, I thank you, I see you, I love you.